Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. Thank you for your comments, all of them. I try to get to them all promptly, but I never know when you're actually going to respond because, of course, by nature of the technology, the system that we use, you might be watching this in the middle of the night or early in the morning. We post it, I think that's the expression, at about 9 o'clock, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday on Facebook, and of course on as a podcast on your favourite provider of podcasting. And as I say, thank you for being there through whatever medium. The good news is that the koala is fine. They got it down. I don't know, Pete, it took how long to get the koala down? We were talking about the koala up a tree and not in very good condition, the poor little thing.
Well, several hours.
Several hours, and these lovely people from the Koala Rescue, what do they call themselves?
Koala Rescue, I think.
Yeah, not the RSPCA?
No.
Koala Rescue. What wonderful, generous, unselfish, dedicated people they are. And I've never heard them ask for money or go round rattling a tin or anything. They just do it out of the, kindness of their big hearts. Lots to talk about, but I'll wish you a happy birthday or happy wedding anniversary first, and tell you it's May 31, which you probably know. 1813. Oh, I mentioned this it was weeks ago, when they took off from this side of the Blue Mountains. I'm talking about Lawson, or Blaxland, Lawson and Wentworth. Here it's got Lawson, Blaxland and Wentworth. So I don't know who gets top billing. I don't suppose it matters. All three set off. And on this day in 1813, they reached Mount Blaxland, which they named, and realised that on the other side of the Blue Mountains, this huge barrier, there wasn't an inland sea, but there was some of the greatest farmland you could possibly imagine in the world. It opened up New South Wales and therefore did a great deal to open up Australia. Blaxland, Lawson and Wentworth. That was the end of their route across the Blue Mountains. The Titanic was launched in Belfast in 1911. The Danish government, 2018, not so many years ago, the Danish government bans garments that cover the face, men or women, including the niqab and the burqa. I don't know if that's still in play. I imagine it would be. Clint Eastwood, American actor, Dirty Harry, born in Carmel, California, born in San Francisco. Oh no, what was the thing that he did? He was a disc jockey in Carmel, California. Play Misty. Have you seen it?
Something like that,
yeah. Play Misty for me. He was a disc jockey. And this woman who was a little on the mysterious side would ring him every night and say, "Play Misty for me." Anyway, I think he explored that telephone call to his own chagrin and probably endangered his life. We could talk about phone calls that one gets on radio. It's interesting. It's interesting. What else can I tell you? A Luftwaffe air raid on Dublin in Neutral Island in 1941 claims 38 lives. I think they probably turned right when they should have been turning left. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Another tragedy of war. Brooke Shields, American model and actress, Blue Lagoon, Suddenly Susan, born New York, 1965, Brooke Shields. I wonder where she is these days. Her mother was she was one of those stage door mothers. Very controlling. But looked after her daughter. 1919, the first wedding held in an aeroplane. Well, I guess that's all right. Over Houston, Texas. A lot of wild things happen in Houston. 1919. Dr. John Harvey Kellogg, Battle Creek, Michigan, files an application to patent flaked cereal and the process of making same. Controversially, excluding his younger brother Will Keith Kellogg. It was a breakup of the family. One went one way and the other went to Sanitarium, which is also another breakfast food company in the world, big and powerful and successful. Battle Creek, Michigan. It's a great name. 1885. James Stewart retires from the US Air Force on this day after 27 years of service. 5 minutes. Thank you, Pete. 5 minutes. Okay, let me just look down here and see if there's anything else. The Battle of Jutland, largest naval battle of World War I between the British Grand Fleet and the German High Seas Fleet. It killed 8,645 people. A terrible battle, but a strategic one. Strategic for British forces. They were the winners, if there are winners. Well, I guess in battles there are, aren't there? The German fleet never put to sea again in World War I after this day in 1916. Oh, and Denholm Elliott, the English actor, Alfie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, born England 1922, died in 1990. Born in 1922 and died in 1992. Some of the things for which we remember the day. I brought down some other notes which I wanted to talk to you about as the program rolls on. It's, I think, a troubled time for most households in this country. I'm really disturbed that on the 1st of July, power prices will go up 25%. That's for households, 29% for small business. Some 600,000 people will suffer, will be affected. Why? Why do they have to go up? The prices, I mean. I've never heard anyone in the media ask the basic question, why? Why? These climate activists, we call them the government, promised that electricity would get cheaper as we moved, at their dictate, towards renewables. Electricity would get cheaper. This is a demonstrable lie. Their job is not to look after the world. You know, I know what their ideology is, but their job is not to look after the world. Our government's job is to look after us. In any case, our contribution to global emissions is only 1.3%, which is nothing. And the government doesn't care, doesn't have the perspective. Oh, they'll spin it. Oh, yes. Or just hope that we will forget their undertaking. Electricity will be cheaper under Labour. I'm a great one in believing that election promises should be set in concrete. No going back on them. If you get elected on a promise, you have to deliver whether you like it or not. I think we should enshrine that in some sort of truth in advertising legislation. But of course, neither side will do it, because both of them, they tell us lies. But listen, when you get the envelope, the electricity bill, maybe it comes on email, realise firstly that the government has told us lies, and in the most energy-rich country in the world, we are actually paying probably the highest prices in the world. These high prices are government-sponsored and engineered. I cannot see how they can spin their way out of that. And, oh, don't mention the war. Of course they'll mention the war at every opportunity. They won't get picked up on that, by the way. The Ukraine war has nothing to do with the price of Australian gas. World gas, yes, not the local resource. The government can unilaterally claim an energy emergency and demand as in Western Australia, that the local market will take precedence over exports. Ruffled feathers? Oh, yes. Yes, of course there'll be ruffled feathers. But stuff them. Who are you looking after, sir? Should be us. We are going through all of this financial pain for the government's ideological obsession. Pure and simple. I call it voodoo science. And you know what? They're probably going to get away with it. Do you hear anyone, apart from us in the court of public opinion, talking about this? Pointing out the irregularities, inconsistencies? I probably talk about it too much, I know that. But if I don't, you won't hear a murmur. And somewhere along the line, some of the things I say, you might get to present to somebody who can do something about it. If I haven't read you this, and I do lose a little track of what we talk about, but when Elon Musk felt absolute disbelief after hearing a fact of life about Australia, he looked at the journalist and said, "I don't believe it." A video of billionaire Elon Musk's reaction to the cost of power in Australia, long before the latest surge in prices, has brought home to many the fears that energy prices may be driving them into poverty. Because you see, everything we do in life, everything we make, everywhere we go, everything, it is all influenced by the cost of electricity. The footage from a little-known interview that he did in 2017 documents a clearly stunned Musk after being presented with Australian electricity prices. This is when he was over here in Adelaide talking about the battery that we bought, which would keep our power going for 25 seconds or something. He said, "Wow, really?" "Wow, really?" he says in disbelief, when told that power was becoming a luxury item for most families. "I didn't realise it was so expensive. Australia has got so many natural resources that even if you go the fossil fuel route, electricity should be the cheapest in the world." Elon Musk. The media doesn't want to talk about that. I mean, I've got it here. Have you heard anybody else talk about it? His shock turned to sadness when he was told that many people were worried that they would not be able to turn on the lights or cook the food. They had to make a choice. "I did not expect that," he said, his voice quavering, before pausing several seconds and promising, we'll work on this." Well, I don't know what he's done, but at least he's considerate enough to care, which is more than the government. I leave that with you. Lots of other things to talk about. The ABC Managing Director, David Anderson, he was before a Senate committee, and he promised to be more sensitive to people. More sensitive to people, particularly Indigenous people. He sympathised with Stan Grant. I'm sorry, sir, is that right? You sympathised in front of the Senate with Stan Grant? I don't want to keep on about this, but really, Stan Grant felt that he had the right to make his inappropriate comments about the monarchy on the occasion of the coronation of the new king, with the special position occupied by the ABC. Did he imagine that he would get a round of applause? Could he or the ABC be so out of touch? There are still Conservatives rusted on to the ABC, if you haven't pissed every one of them off yet. Some of us still think there is hope for the ABC. But what a joke. Stan Grant's comments had to be regarded as a sackable offence. Nothing over which he deserved an apology, but the managing director decided he should apologise to this guy. Before the Senate, he said that he should have come to the defence of Stan Grant earlier. He says he will do more to be inclusive. What else do you want to include, sir? David Johnson should be setting the standards for the ABC. That's his job, to run the ABC. Make it popular, make it successful, relevant, respectable, in my opinion. It should be the pinnacle of respectable broadcasting excellence. He's not there to be part of the politically correct woke movement, is he? Forgive me. But his comments do, in front of the Senate, to me anyway, this is only my opinion, but his comments, I think, condemn the ABC from the top to the bottom. If the Senate does not come up with a suitable finding, and the opposition says nothing, we can look forward to more of this institutionalised nonsense. Ita, what are you doing? I don't get it. Can you believe they have invented, this is nothing you discover, they've invented a way to have babies without a mother, without a father, without a womb, no sperm, no egg? Well, firstly, the world does not need parentless children. One could argue that our major problem is not climate, but population. Why would scientists be spending millions, if not billions, on creating people without a mother and father? I find the story so incredible. I'll research it because it's out of Japan, and I do remain, even to this day, somewhat sceptical about stuff that comes out of the media. It used to come across a teleprinter, but these days it's all on the net. But before I run off half-cocked, let me research that and make sure that it is in fact true. As best I can, I'll come back with you towards the end of the week and talk some more about it. But while we're in the gobsmack department, we are apparently looking overseas for people to make our military armoured personnel vehicles. Why in God's name can't we make them here? It just makes no sense. Why would we pass on the largesse, the money, the opportunities, the skills to other people in other countries? We need to refine and confine this sort of work to Australians. Keep it here. We need to keep and improve our skills. The government, any government, should demand that these vehicles be made here. The Bushmaster, now that is one of the best personnel carriers in the world, recently in demand by Ukraine, and they speak incredibly well of it. No, it is a wonderful vehicle. If we can make the Bushmaster, we can make any personnel carrier you can think of. All right, I wouldn't suggest that we go out there on a limb and start making tanks, but certainly we have the skills to do a very good job on a personnel carrier. With the, I'll leave you with this, with the visit by the Indian Prime Minister, who's, you know, more like a rock star. In fact, I think he put more people into the Olympic Stadium in Sydney than Bruce Springsteen. So he's truly a rock star. It's interesting that there are so many people in this diaspora of Indian people. 1 million in Australia alone. 1 million people. Now, I'm surprised they haven't asked for a voice. I would imagine they could. I imagine they could justify asking for one. An Indian voice. There are more Indians in Australia than Aboriginals. It could be argued that they make a really fantastic contribution to society. In fact, I did look it up. They make, if I can grab it quickly, they contribute just a shade under 10% of Australia's GDP. A shade under 10%, as opposed to Aboriginals who contribute hang on. There it is, 0.04%. 0.04%. Just a thought. But you have to love the way the Indians can mix Bollywood and politics. Sort of a cross between a political rally and a religious revival, and a rock spectacular. Very good, very impressive. Thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I haven't ruffled too many feathers. In a way, perhaps I don't hope that at all, because in a sense that's one's job in talking about these issues. We shouldn't be too softly. I don't think we've got the time to run around gilding the lily and calming the waters. Thanks for viewing the Court of Public Opinion. Pete and I will be back tomorrow. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Believe in yourself, and goodbye for now.